Nice.
Oh,
Hey,
hello, Mr. Joshua. Nice to
hey,
meet you.
hey, man.
Hey, how are you
Nice.
doing?
I'm alright. What's your name?
My name is Noah. I'm Noah Vennes, and
No, Vennes. Alright.
I want to hear more about you, good sir. Have a seat.
Yep, alright.
All right, Mr. Good Sir. So, Joshua, tell me, what's been going through your thoughts and minds lately?
Yeah. Just typical school stuff. Must trying to get through college again. Must must again. Must this is like the second or third time since the pandemic.
Yeah. So tell me more about it. Are you feeling? How do you feel going through school and stuff?
I mean, other than the usual gripes and stuff for like homework and whatnot, and but just peers being peers. I don't know. I'm not sure it's been too much. Some people say that I'm like into my hobbies too much, but I don't know if that's really a problem or anything.
Okay, what I'm getting from you, Josh, is that it sounds like there's a lot of expectations in school going on, but also a lot of hobbies too that you like. Is that what I'm getting?
Well, yeah, of course, man. I mean, I enjoy being able to watch videos from time to time. I love my music. I love my games. My favorite bit. Okay, I love my games a lot.
Play games a lot.
Yeah, my like. But I play so many different games. I play Clash. I play some board games. I've actually been looking up for Among Us.
Playing
That's
some Among Us.
yeah, that's like a online game where you like it's like Mafia but online.
Okay, so what I'm getting out of this, Mr. Joshua, it seems that you play video games while you're trying to balance that out with school. Is that what I'm getting?
Yup, and as a result, I do tend to like miss an assignment or two because homework royally sucks.
Well, why does homework suck to you?
Was well, one, why do we need it? And two, was it's interrupts the time stuff I could be doing with people or just to cool off or just have time to myself. I just don't like how it interrupts things. It's very annoying. I mean, granted people say I play a lot. Like, okay, I'll admit I play like maybe 5 to 6 hours
Oh, 5 to 6 hours
like daily.
daily. That sounds like a lot of hours of video games.
I got a friend that does like easily 8 to 10, but he's a streamer.
He's a streamer.
Yeah, that's part of his job.
So, Mr. Joshua, I just wanted to ask. So, while you're playing a lot of video games and playing with um, not just games, but also balancing that with schoolwork and stuff, which one do you prioritize the most?
To be brutally honest, probably the gaming. Because gaming is so much more fun. You can go to tournaments. You can like make money at that. You can just have a good time. It's way more fun than schoolwork. Even if I'm trying to get a degree.
I bet that I get that. For me, like when I was younger, I can relate to you on that because I too used to play a lot of video games.
Right, you know that old retro stuff, like some of the classics and whatnot. Super Mario Party. No, that's not it. Super Mario
Brothers?
Well, that's one of them. Oh, RPG. That's right, Super Mario RPG. Like that's one of the classics. Like there's so many old classics, so many good games to do. Like honestly, you learn so much more with like some of these war games, like Call of Duty or Medal of Honor. I like Medal of Honor a lot. Like, you learn more about that than you do like trying to figure out algebraic equations or math stuff or science stuff.
So, what's the advantage of playing video games over working on homework, do you think, Josh?
Well, for starters, you get to associate with people. Homework you do alone. Like, there's hardly ever any group projects. So you're mostly doing it alone. And you don't get to spend time with people. It's just boring, it's tedious. And granted, I can pull A's if I want. I'm said to be a smart student. I'm lazy smart, you might say. But it's just more fulfilling to get that time in with people because people say I'm an introvert and I don't do well with people. And like, well, that's kind of true. But online or like on a game, it's a different story. I'm like really good there.
Tell me more about the gaming. So, are you very extrovert when you play with friends on games than when helping with homework with other classmates?
I would I wouldn't say so. Unless I'd say like I have more fun in helping people learn practices of games or stuff, or to what was it? I have I have more fun trying to figure out people's static stuff than I do like trying to help them get the correct answers. So like studying, unless it's one or two specific things like a book or something, because books can tie into video games sometimes. So literature is kind of easier for that. But other stuff just doesn't really use it. And also, my teachers don't like the idea of video games. Some of them are okay. Others are like, it's a waste of time. I'm like, really? You gotta insult me that way?
Do you feel insulted when people say that it's bad that you shouldn't play so much video games, or do you feel that way when people address that, hey,
I
you play too much?
I feel kind of insulted. Like, first off, they they don't enjoy the play, and I get that. Well, we all got our own hobbies and stuff.
Right.
But I could get on their case for like doing things, and like I don't
Right.
want to be treated that way. So why do they treat me that way?
Right. It sounds like, in that case, like, you expect, hey, if I make my decision on playing video games, you shouldn't judge me, even if you disagree with me. I would appreciate that. So,
Yeah, like the whole golden rule thing was do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Treat how you want to be treated. Was they obviously don't follow that standard. Was and granted, none of us are perfect at that, but
oh yeah,
I'd appreciate they did it more.
I get
Just
that.
saying, man.
Right. And Josh, I would ask too, without a curiosity, but before I ask my question, I just like to summarize so far what I'm getting. It sounds like your priorities have been going to video games a little more because it brings you comfort. Would that be correct? Than homework?
It's usually a comfort, but it's a great escape. Let's be real.
I see. And so, with that being said, do you like to be away from people? So,
That depends on my mood.
depends on your
So
mood. Could you tell me more about your moods?
yeah, like I enjoy some of the people that I play. I know a few people at my school that play, and we sometimes play together, and it's a ton of fun once in a while. Granted, you don't get that with every game session, but you can get it a lot. And there are some games you just play alone because you want to have fun alone, or just because the game is designed to be played alone. Like a lot of RPGs are like that.
Right.
When you want to play with others, it's going to be shooters or tactical stuff, or just silly party stuff. Like Mario Party, like has a lot of fun party stuff. I don't do that as often. I am kind of an introvert, but I can enjoy things with others periodically, I guess. Much more than homework, anyways.
Okay.
Ironically, homework is more fun when you have people to work with, like group projects, because then you're not doing it alone.
I see. So tell me more about the homework perception. I'm just curious, Josh, with when people are involved with you in homework, is it easier to do well on homework with friends or people helping you, or
Okay.
by yourself?
Okay, here's kind of the deal. When I got started out, like in the beginning of my third semester,
Okay.
I was rocking strong. Like, sure, I was playing more video games at the time. Actually, I was getting like 6, 7, sometimes more hours in a day.
Wow.
But I've been on the clock in like over as many as 70 hours in a week. That's a lot of time. I'm aware. But I was also just rocking my classes. I had A's and everything. 4.0, baby. Actually, true. 8th grade.
Eighth grade, huh?
Yeah, that was true. But the thing going on here is that coming into my 5th semester, I started tanking in a couple of grades because I missed an essay.
Tell me more about the essay.
Submitted it incomplete. Only got like 60 out of 120. Now that's a hit. It knocks me down to maybe like a B or upper C. But that ain't so bad because I can just make it back up with tests and extra credit and stuff. I've done that before. I've been clutch. Unless I get homework done at the very last minute, but with the whole online system, it's easier than ever to like sneak the homework in like 5 minutes before the due date.
And so when you say that, yeah, it's good that you bring that. It's really interesting that you bring that up, Josh, because when you mention about once like you're referring to the pandemic, right? When
I'm
online.
referring to post-pandemic, but even before that was a thing, like you could still submit it online and not have to worry about any of it. Problem is, I can't work on this stuff at home all the time because it's an online thing, and I was trying to get my pad calibrated to work with that.
So what makes working online home challenging?
I think it's the fact that I just want to play more than actually put in the work. Cause like, do I need this? Do I need the points?
It's like the old saying of having the score, you gain points. But having no score, there's no points. But what is your score go into? The games or the homework?
Well, if it comes to the games, I'm scoring very high, as easily. As I got mastery and so many things. I've completed my 5th run through of Breath of the Wild. Wait, is it 5th? I think it might be 6th actually. Because I just started my 7th.
Okay.
I've still got stuff going on with the whole Smash Bros thing. Considering trying to do a tournament, even though I play Hero.
Yeah.
He's wacky sword character. You heard of Smash Ultimate?
Oh yeah, I've heard of Smash Ultimate.
Okay, good. There's not a lot of counselors who know what games are. Or Smash Ultimate is at least, which is surprising. It's one of the most popular games.
I see. And so that makes me summarize this. So it sounds like with video games growing up, there was a point in your life I noticed that you actually could balance homework and play video games.
Because everything was easier back then. They didn't have so many demands.
Like the homework was easier to work with. When you got older, it was complicated homework.
Right. It seems like the farther you go, all these new subjects, and I'm like, I have to spend more time reading and studying this stuff. And I'm like, do I need all these points? Some of it just does not seem necessary. I do the reading, I nail the quizzes, and tests. Heck, I even get the extra credit just so I have more time. Because the extra credit doesn't have a time limit. Why would you need to make time for other homework? I just wish they had more extra credit so I could have more time with fun. Or I wish they made gaming an assignment. But no teacher ever does that. There isn't a class for entertainment, apparently.
Not even back then when you were younger?
Oh, absolutely not. If they're going to introduce one, it's going to be now rather than before.
Right.
The pandemic would be an excuse to learn more about fun, I think.
Oh yeah, no, I get that.
In my opinion. I have tried to figure ways to try to balance the time together. One thing is maybe inviting my friends over for a gaming session, and then maybe maybe a homework session first, because I do research with some of them, do homework with some, and then do gaming right after. I don't know if that's necessarily the best idea. It's just one thing I've thought of. I don't know. Do you have other ideas?
Yeah. So before I give you a suggestion, mind if I summarize what I got out of this from you?
Oh, sure.
So for reviewing, it sounds like, Joshua, that as time went on after 8th grade, for you it got a little bit harder to balance homework and video games because your passion was leading more towards video games, and the pressure of higher education stressed you out a little bit. Am I getting that right, or am I wrong?
Well, there's a bit more to that. There's also just my parents and teachers and all just getting on my case of you game way too much, man. I was like, dude, I'm spending time with people, I'm trying to calm on down. Nice. But now they're making the case that it's biting into my homework, and I can't fully ignore that.
Right.
Because I got a D in one class.
Oh. How did you get a D?
It's a science. Science sucks. You have to, but I needed in order to get the degree.
Right.
You have to do lab work. You have to do research, and that means setting up Apple prep time. This ain't just running out something.
Right.
You gotta look at stuff, look at stars or something, or do some kind of a science experiment. Lord, how I hate those. And then you gotta document the studies on the science experiments. and then you gotta submit a report about it, and then bring it all the way back on it. That's like 5 hours of work.
Right. And
Granted, I'm a quick read. I'm not quick with my hands. And just when I thought of a loophole of like working with others, he said, has to be your own individual project. You cannot collaborate with others. This assignment is worth 80 points. Now, 80 points is a big chunk for a science thing. I grant the entire course is 800 points. So that's 10% of the grade right there.
right.
That's a little insane.
Oh, I bet. And
I get that it's conceptual physics, but seriously, and right within the first 2 weeks of the class, not fun, man. Not
Right.
fun.
oh yeah, I bet it wasn't fun, was it?
I had to sweat so long, and I only ended up getting 65 out of that. I was so mad. I was like, I could have just done half submitted and taken the 40 and then made it up later. But then he said there's hardly any extra credit and he's random when he does it. It sucks. And it made me so tilted.
It threw you off that your
Yeah.
teacher would put high demands on you and it overwhelmed
I
you.
guess the real problem is that I don't have time to play, so it's biting into my sleep. There's been times when I only get 2 hours of sleep.
Okay, and so with that being said, that you're not alone on that, Josh. In fact, did you know I went through a similar phase, and I actually talked.
Have you had like other patients do that too?
Oh yeah, I've had patients that even told me some of their stories, and very similar to yours with the case of trying to do something fun on the side and expectation on work stressing them out, causing them to back out on their work or homework in that case.
Yeah, that's awfully relatable.
And even myself, I am not good at science. But as a
Well, you seem okay at psychology. That's a science.
I appreciate your compliment there, but we're focusing on you, Josh.
Right.
And so with the summarizing here, to summarize, you have a passion for video games. You don't have as much of a passion of homework because of its execution from the teachers and loved ones trying to pressure you to get the homework done first, and it overwhelmed you.
They want me to get to degrees so I can get a job so I can move out. That's what it feels like anyways.
And I ask, what are some ways we can look through this? What are good and bad ways with the video games? Like, for example, what have you seen good and bad that you've done regarding to having video game time more than your homework time?
Well, I guess I do lose out on some study time or the ability to like look through the material more carefully. Unless if I did that, I could probably chalk it up to a high B or A's for like some of the stuff. I know most of my classes would take a jump if I took the course just a little more seriously, because I still pull like A's, B's, and C's, but now there's like more B's and C's now.
Yeah.
All at that 1D. With science, I could try to raise it up to maybe a high B or something like that. It's not my best, but I could like do a lot better.
I suppose. And what are ways we could? And before I ask you, what was the advantage of all of this that you gained from playing games more than homework? What's the advantage? We're looking at the good and bad
I
out of
was
this.
able to relax. I was able to prove that I'm not a shut-in. That I spend time with people. I've been accused of being a shut-in, like not spending a lot of time with people. So I did gaming and got out of doing it to kind of say like, see, I spend time with people. I'm like, online, you need to be in person. I was like, what the heck do you want from me? Go to college? I don't get what they want. It's like they want me to just give up gaming entirely, which sounds a little insane, just because they don't do it.
Do you think, and it's good they bring that up because I ask you, do you believe that maybe some people that love you or care about you, concerned about you being so passionate with video games that might be making it a little bit harder for you to learn bigger things with school related stuff, and maybe that's why they put the pressure?
I guess it's possible, although I think that person, they're just too fixated on it because they were all like, we know you can do better. We know you can do better. And I was like, what's your idea of better? And are you able to get to the same standards? I'm just being defensive here. I know I'm good. I know I can be, like, I'm on the best. But I don't see the effort in it. My dad, despite being smart, doesn't constantly say, like, you need to do your best all the time. That's because he did great and he did terrible. But some of the others, my mom included, are like, you can totally be so much better than this. And I was like, what do you know about my abilities and talents? How much are you trying to make out of me? I'm just an older man who enjoys his gaming a whole lot. More than he does the work. Can you blame me for that? But I can't say it doesn't have its issues, which is why I'm here.
Right, nice. I bet. And tell me more about your mom and dad and your relationship with your mom and dad, especially during the times when homework was involved, and video gaming as well, at the same time. Were you closer with your mom or dad more for that?
When it comes to gaming, it's always been dad.
Closer with dad?
Yep, dad is always the better player. He's the one who taught me about gaming, actually.
A little more stronger than your mother?
I connect to her more emotionally. We talk about a lot of other things. I mean, don't get me wrong, she can be cool. They can be awesome parents.
Well,
but I got some great parents.
Oh, I bet.
And I don't doubt that they care about me. I think they might care too much, but that could just be me.
Perhaps they care about you, Josh, because they want to see you be independent and strong, and that maybe is their motive, even though their execution could come off a different way. Your thoughts?
Yeah, their execution is pretty garbage at times. Once in a while they nail it, but most of the time it's either subpar or just bad. If I had to give them a grade on execution, they get anywhere from a C minus to an F. They'll occasionally pull A pluses though, so it's hard to predict.
Right, and so with that being said, throughout your video game passion and your homework, it seems that your mom was very strict with you on that, because she perhaps
not as strict as she could have been, and frankly, I wouldn't let her get away with that. Because in the past, when you tried to take away video game privileges or something, I would just default to doing something else entirely, something you couldn't control.
Okay.
So in a way, I made it very difficult for people to control me, because I don't like people trying to control me. I got bullied too much as a kid. So I decided I'm not going to let anybody have that kind of control.
Were you ever...
Including the parents.
Okay.
Granted, I have more respect for them than I do for some of my peers. And I love them. I want to say that I do anyways. I just want to try to find a way to combine my interests with, like, balancing out the time. And that's the hard part, is how do I keep them satisfied, like, convince them that I got a good plan, while also keeping the grades healthy enough.
Yeah, and, well, in that case, let's focus on that, actually. It's good that you brought that up, so...
Yeah, because I can't just tell them not to care. They're parents. Their job is to care.
Right, and so, first thoughts. Do you think what's a boundary you found between your relationship with mom and dad and you in your walk in life with playing video games and your homework?
Now that is a question. As far as I can see, I'm not sure. The line's kind of blurry. I've asked them what's a good medium for gaming and for doing homework. I have asked them, like, for an opinion. They're like, I'd rather you just give up the games. It's like, is that really an option? She's like, yes. Just focus on the work and don't bother with all this fun stuff. You got more important things to do. Spend time with... And then he's like, but then you tell me to spend time with people. I'm like, yes, but not gaming. Something else, please. I was like, can you really ask that of me? And then my dad will chime in and be like, maybe just don't spend so much time with it. Just do other things. I'm like, what else does he mean? Listen to share music with people? Nice. Not go out and eat. I don't really like going out and eat all that much.
Have you ever thought of asking?
I got invited a couple times to a pizzeria. We went out. It was actually kind of fun.
That's good.
I've gone to a few parties.
Oh.
I always bring my Switch, of course, but I've gone to a few parties.
Right.
Even Christmas stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I'm not a big fan of Christmas, but I don't hate it either.
Right.
The hatred for Valentine's Day. But anyways, yeah, I'm single. At any rate, I'm just trying to figure out like a balance between to like make like both of them happy, or at least keep them content, so they're not having a freak out session like now.
Right. And
Because they looked at the grades, I told them like leave my grades alone, but then they looked at them and then they started complaining. They had that's what they complained about a C. Never mind the D. They ranted about that. I was like, I'm not good at science. They're like, you could be so much better at this though. I'm like, well, they didn't say it that way, just for the record.
okay.
But it was implied.
When your parents gave you that type of attitude, did you feel discouraged?
Yeah, big time.
Tell me more about that.
Like, are you even trying to like encourage me? Is this your idea of encouragement? Like, because it really sucks if it does. Like, I've had people give me great encouragements. I've also had people give me, well, pretty crappy encouragements. Like, I'm not gonna say my parents are an F rank, but they're a D. Like, below average.
Okay.
Like occasionally they're really good, but they're usually kind of bad.
Yeah.
And I just want to see things get better.
What would you like to see get better?
I want our communications to get better. I'd like them to play more stuff with me. Doesn't have to be a video game. I just want them to do more things and maybe not work so hard. I know they work like to mention nows and that and all that, and have time going out to eat and watch movies and stuff. And that's a thing. They watch movies so much. Like they clock in like easily. I'd say 20, 30 hours a week watching movies. I'm like, who watches movies that much unless you have Netflix? We don't have Netflix. Why do they do it? Oh wait, we got Amazon Prime. That's right. And granted, it's fun, but I don't do it all that much because it's a distraction. Oh wait a minute, so it's gaming.
So perhaps gaming, that your parents' of watching TV is the equivalent, like you playing video games, and your parents address it to you, like how you address them about wanting to watch TV with them.
Yeah, but the thing is, they can also be kind of like Jekyll and Hyde. Do you know what that is?
It's not. It's.
They can be chill and cool one moment, and then be like the next.
They can get aggressive. Basically, you can get aggressive and defensive.
That passion, that emotion comes out, and then they're very aggressive, and that's like, oh boy, here we go again.
Have you ever felt that way yourself when people addressed or criticized you with gaming too much, or if you had a Jekyll and Mr. Hyde example?
Don't think I would say so. Usually my tactic is just approach and wait, get into the storm shelter and wait till the storm passes over. I don't fight back. I just sit there, stand there, and listen. I have my eyes shut and don't really pay attention all that much because like I know it's gonna be the same rant again. And you know what the definition of insanity is? Trying the same thing over and expecting different results. I've told them that they don't listen, because they don't ever listen to me. I was like, I told them, why are you gonna listen to me? Why do you expect me to listen to you when you don't do the same? They get so mad because they're like, I'm the parent, you should do what I say. That's a bad argument. I've had debate class, I know that's a bad argument.
And you say you never fight back, is that correct? Because I heard you say...
I don't yell back.
Okay.
I don't raise my voice. I do try to say things, but they get passionate and sometimes, well, Dad occasionally listens, but usually they talk too fast for me to get something in. The worst is when they double team. The double teams are the worst because then you can't get a word in at all, and they're going to control the mic and the narrative for the whole stinking time.
When 2 or 3 or more goes towards one person with structured criticism, it's when the person by themselves feels hurt or betrayed.
It doesn't matter if it's a squad of bullies or your peers or your parents. 2-on-1 or 3-on-1 is never a fair fight.
And I like to ask you, Josh, what are some ways? Because I like to see you and your family get along and build regain trust because surely you want to. They truly, like you said, they you can't deny that they don't love you because they do
Nice.
love you, right?
So improving the grades. Nice. Like they'll be like, okay, you just did that because we told you to. Like I want to be more than that. I don't want them stealing credit for it, because that's just selfish. Not to mention arrogant.
Can you clarify that example again?
You do something for somebody and they're like, because I told you to. Like, that's got arrogance written all over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so from what I get out of that, it's basically someone say, hey, do me a favor. You do the favor, and then they come off like, hey, you did that for me. And it comes off needy.
And then they have the audacity to say, but you shouldn't let those words bother you. It's like, so give you an excuse, huh? They didn't take that very well, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Another reason why we do gaming. Like, even the fellow gamers don't say, like, because I told you to. You put in the inputs, you put in the work. Like some of my gaming friends give me more respect than I get from, say, the teachers. Or the others who are, like, against the gaming. Because they're also, what's the word? Rudimentary? Stuck in their ways?
Yeah.
They're all the older, like the Gen Z, Gen X and stuff. The boomers and whatnot. Like they're more conservative. They didn't have games back in their time. Not many games back in their time, anyways.
Right.
They had board games, but I don't know if they liked gaming all that much. I know my dad did.
Right.
Or maybe they just got tired of them as they got older. I don't know, recency bias maybe.
Right.
It could be that.
Yeah.
I've tried to include them as like the game sometimes. Like, hey, come on and play with me. And once in a while they do it. When I get it set up for them. But they're also like, did you get your homework done? They've even offered to help me with the homework, and they always screw up with the answers. That's another thing. They're like, you can do better. Really? Want to help me do better? Let's see you do it. And they're like, I'm not going to do it for you. It's like, I'm testing you. And they're like, I'm not good at this. It's like, what's your excuse for telling me to do better then? Because I know you're smarter. If you know it, why don't you trust me? Because you're not wiser. Okay, first off, do you tell anybody that with the intent to be encouraging? It's like, this is encouraging. This is constructive criticism. Would you mind to take some? You can't give it. Well, I've always been afraid to ask that last question because I don't know if they would like be willing to take it or what the heck I would tell them. Do I just tell them what I've been telling you right now?
Well, perhaps I would you like to hear my suggestions?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Well, so Josh, I think the big thing about it too is it sounds like with that there's a trust issue going on. There's a big trust issue between you and your parents.
Nice.
Your parents are trying to be like, hey, this is life kind of mindset, perhaps, you think? And they're bringing up examples as a way to show you a glimpse of how the world might be like. Or?
And the life coach that you know. But he's typically a lot more relaxed with me than say the parents.
He as in your dad?
No, not my dad, but this is like a different man I've been working with to help me with college applications.
Oh, tell me his name.
His name, if I remember, is Jeremy.
Jeremy?
And he's pretty good at like helping me to sort stuff out.
Nice.
He's also a bit of a gamer himself, but I don't think he goes as hard.
Okay.
And that's fine. He doesn't have to.
Right.
That's because he's got a job.
Right. So with Jeremy, tell me more about your relationship with Jeremy. Did he help you with balancing homework and games during that time?
He tried to. Like, he's got several people he works with. He's a busy bee.
And what did you gain out of that relationship with Jeremy?
Well, I was able to calm down for a while and actually get a bunch of stuff done. He taught me like a trick of like how to like compile homework into certain time slots. Crack it all out of the way and then just be free to play and whatever. And if my parents come in and be like, "Have you finished your homework?" "Yeah, I did." "Do you want to come play with me?" "I'm sorry." I don't know why. They still seem like intent on avoiding like whenever I have the homework done. But then they ask the question, now they're asking the question, "Can I check your homework?" I'm like, say to that. If I have it done, then yeah, sure. But if I'm like still been working on it, I sometimes just want to take a break, you know.
So like when you say like, so when Jeremy was helping you with homework and balancing that with video games time, what were give me? I like to ask you the examples of those methods that helped you co-op.
Okay. Like the main one he showed me was look at the work early, like review all of it first, and then take some time if you want to go at it, or maybe take a little time to relax first and then go at it.
Okay.
Feel free to take a break if you need to, but if it's like you have a day or two, then you can take some time. If you have longer, then maybe consider how much time you need, plan in advance, like a day or two in advance.
Okay. So
Yeah, like just make more time to think about stuff. Be more mindful.
so being more mindful on prioritizing. He was
Nice.
teaching you how to prioritize homework from the video games.
Right. Yep. He also said, like, consider how fulfilling the game is to you. Do you need to get all of it done right away, or can you take some time and playing it to truly enjoy it? And I thought, you might have a point there. But I play so fast. I've been on like my 7th playthrough of Breath of the Wild. Maybe I should slow down a bit, enjoy the game more. I definitely didn't. I'm not gonna try to be a completionist, but it'd be good to like take my time.
Right. And honestly, that sounds like perhaps a good method that you could try with your mom and dad.
So just take more time for all things.
Take more time with all things, because everything, and I'm going to review everything with you. Would you be okay with that?
Yeah, let's hear it.
So, from what I've heard from you, to summarize, paraphrasing, you love video games, right? You love video games so much, and homework, at one point, you had confidence in yourself when you were in 8th grade, that middle school era of your life.
Well, no, I mean like the first sessions of college too. I was kicking it then too.
But not high school?
Most of high school too. Like it's only been like the most recent college stuff that's like starting to get hard.
Okay.
But these first 2 semesters, even after the whole COVID blast, like I was still kicking it.
Okay.
I have a feeling that might have been because they're going easy on us because the pandemic just dropped. That could have been a thing, honestly.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why we found it easy for a while.
Right.
I wasn't complaining, mind you, but
Right. Well, let's focus on that.
but now we're like getting back into like going back to school, and all of a sudden it's starting to get a lot harder, and I'm like, why? I don't know. I know some people are like stressed out because of the pandemic. My family's not supposed to be one of those, but who knows?
Right. And for that matter, with well, let's use your high school and middle school as a prime example of this, shall we? With what you learned with balancing homework and
back then I had other
video games.
teachers and instructors who would help with the balancing stuff. I had actually a bit of a special ed program to take care of some of that stuff, so it was actually relatively easy. I don't want to say what the whole special ed thing was about, but it was helpful.
So you actually did have support.
Yeah, I didn't have as many friends, but I definitely had people to like help me plan stuff, and eventually start getting really good. I did have a lapse in 7th grade for a little bit, and then just came back roaring 8th grade and kept going all the way into college.
It sounded like you did balance the
But
time.
the college thing is different, because you get more time to generally do stuff. But but the scaling is so high, much higher than it was like in high school. Like you have to process like many different things, read the books a little deeper, because high school you had a lot of classes. College you only have like maybe I'm only gonna be 3, which is far fewer, but they're all more intensive.
Okay.
So failing or being close to failing one of them is actually a way bigger deal than it was in high school.
So,
The stakes are up, is what I'm saying.
okay. So, what I get out of this is that with the video games and school, there was a point in life where it was a little easy to actually balance those, but you also had all that support. And then as you got older, you looked at the negatives with your mom and dad's firm criticism of you playing video games, and that kind of was challenging, wasn't it?
Well, they had some of the stuff back then, but as long as I was able to flex the grades, I was like, what are you complaining about? Now I'm actually struggling to have like a boast for that. maybe I got too cocky back in the day.
I see. And so if you think that way, what are some methods? But before I ask the methods, do you think maybe video games are more of a focus for you than homework? As of right now.
Right now, hard to decide. It's like they're both important.
Okay. If you had to pick between and I'd like to hear your thoughts, between seeing morals reflect from a video game in a gameplay, or learning work-based knowledge. What are ways we can balance those together? Where video games ain't outweighing the homework, or vice versa, yeah.
Maybe find games that correspond to the work. Try to find some more sciencey stuff, or maybe things that include like literature. Like I already mentioned, literature. Literature is like one of those things you can tie into games because RPGs have a lot of literature.
So did you like literature in school when you did literature homework?
I killed literature. I always rocked A's in literature. It was so stinking easy. I'm a really good book reader. Like reading's one of my top abilities. But no joke.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's very impressive.
Nice. And of course, that skill translates super well to gaming because you do lots of reading in RPGs. Nice. But then sometimes you don't want to do the RPG because it takes too long, time consuming. And it's a turn-based system, so you'd rather just get to the action. That's like where Legend of Zelda or Smash Bros. Comes into play.
Right.
And you want to do things a lot. Sometimes you want to have a more mindful game, such as Among Us, or like some games that require you to think or solve puzzles or stuff. Zelda's got some of those, but I know games that like strategy-based, like Fire Emblem or stuff, that require you to think a lot more about stuff. You know, it's funny, when I was doing my thing of like Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon series, I actually was doing better at like some of the geography stuff. Maybe I need to play more board games and just tie that in with world history lessons.
Have you ever thought about playing more educational games?
Oh, I've done some of that. I've done like brain training. I've also done things about the history of the world, or realistic scenarios like World War II.
Okay.
Like Medal of Honor is all World War II for the most part.
Right.
Yeah. So it does teach you like places and times and stuff, and you just role play as if you were in that scenario.
Right.
It's a shooter, so it does require you to pay attention to keep your focus at all times.
Oh, for sure.
And granted, you can grind. Like the average mission takes like 30, 45 minutes. That's another thing. Some of the games, a play session is going to be a minimum of 30, 45 minutes.
Okay.
I've tried to explain this to some, and they gradually accept it and understand it. But it's hard to convince them. Like they say, let this be the last mission, please. But it transitions so easily into the next one. You don't have to say continue. It just auto plays right into the next one. And it's one of the older systems. They designed it so well to transition. You have to like pause the game and quit. That's because it auto saves. But I forget to do that sometimes because I'm having too much fun.
Having too much fun, huh?
Yeah, until you die or you get blown up, and then you're like, okay, I'll quit now.
So, with video games, what is the advantage from you with when you were playing that game?
Well, okay, I'll give an example here.
And the disadvantage.
So one time I'm walking along in school. There's this one guy that's always like trying to get on my case. He's a bully. And he's always insulting me on something or other. Usually by looks or the way I talk or something like that, just some generic stuff. And like, yeah, nothing new. One day he specifically tries to grab me, and I remember this motion from this Medal of Honor of like how you can disarm somebody or like knock them down if they grab at you. So I do that, just flip them over into a chair. So I was like, bullies can't really touch me because I've practiced like some of those moves from the games I play. And granted, a little bit from the Wii that I've also played, because you practice boxing or wrestling in some of those game scenarios. You develop an instinct of timing. Your eye-hand coordination is important for a lot of gaming.
Right.
Your tactics, what you're going to do in a moment, situational awareness, is really useful when dealing with like dangerous situations. And that, let's be real, that kind of thing can happen in schools and in colleges too. Probably not as much in college. But this was at a time when I was like practicing war games because I was like looking at the military, you know.
Yeah, it gets you very hyped up.
Well, with that too, you get to de-stress and get excited at the same time.
And it sounds like
that's maybe the best appeal of video games. You de-stress and you get engaged at the same time. That's like maybe the best you can get.
Feel engaged by the games
Right.
and the story and the
Homework,
action.
by contrast, is just simply not engaging. Plus, it's only remotely interesting if it's a read or something you enjoy. And I know that I have like the choice to pursue classes. My counselor actually told me, was like, pick a variety of classes. One you don't like, one you do like, some you do. Was, and then just focus on the one you don't and prioritize the ones that you do.
Yeah,
Was,
I would agree with that.
Like you were saying, trying to prioritize everything, but enjoy the class that you can and just get done what you need to of the one. Find what you can interesting, is what he said. I've recently started trying that. Try to make things more interesting, ask more questions, get more involved. Make me less bored, I'll say. I don't fall asleep in class anymore. Well, not that I ever really fell asleep, but like I didn't pay attention, you know?
Yeah. So that makes me ask a question. We got 14 minutes in our sessions, Joshua. So I think it'd be good to get to bigger, deeper scenarios of this situation with the games.
You mean like solutions?
Solutions, right. Well, I ask you, have you ever found any solutions and things that reflect on what we just gained? You said that besides video games, de-stressing you and also giving you some moral example in it that you gain, and then you also found something passionate, and another previous counselor even told you, find for classes, pick something you like over what you least like as a way to get you more motivated and cooperative.
So some of my friends have encouraged me to like try to go out to tournaments and stuff, or just to gaming centers to have fun at like the school. So I don't have to like go all the way home to play. I can like just do my work at school and then play at school at the same time before I go home. And that's been like pretty convenient. Like our dean of students like just made a new gaming center, and ironically I helped him pick up the controllers and all that. It's Switch and PC stuff.
Right.
You know, all the good stuff.
Oh yes.
And of course it's modern, it's the latest. So I was surprised the school had a budget for it actually. Remember when I said earlier that I wish they had a class teaching on fun?
Oh yeah.
Well, we might just get it in this next semester or two. Because now we have like a place to study games and stuff and figure out why it's practical. I'm hoping they come up with that at some point. Or even just as an extra credit thing. But I also found like I can do the work there and then just go straight over to the gaming center, which is like a 2-minute walk.
Right.
It's so much simpler to like do that now. So I actually find I'm able to balance the time out a bit more.
That's awesome. It's very awesome there, by the way, Josh.
But there's also been a strategy proposed by the iTunes store of all things, the App Store, of like turn downtime into gaming time. Play on the bus, and play when you're in transition going someplace. Like turn your off time into game time.
Right.
Doesn't have to be at home.
Yeah.
Which means my parents don't have to catch me playing as much.
So it sounds like you want to find a way to avoid dealing with your parents.
It's not like I want to avoid doing that. I just want to make sure they're like in a good mood. But like they don't always mind me playing. Like particularly, I've gotten them to play with me sometimes, so you can get a good result. It's just I think they like see me on it too much, you know.
Yeah.
So make it other places so they're not sweating so much.
So yeah, and you know,
if they don't know, they can't complain, right?
Yeah. So I have some suggestions, Josh.
Let's hear 'em.
All right. First of all, the thing where I'm going to list 5 things I noticed about this.
Ooh,
This
okay.
might be something I want you to think about this. Really think of what I am about to share with you. And this is a recap. So 1, you don't like high expectations. It makes you push you away and do something that you want that no one else wants for you.
Unless it's really critical. Like, if we're talking a fire or some big panic emergency, like, of course I'm gonna drop
Right.
everything and go for that.
Right,
Unless
for sure.
Our house almost got tipped over because of a flood once. We had to move there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That must have been traumatizing, wasn't it?
Not really. I actually laughed about the whole thing.
Okay.
Like, I'm pretty good in panic scenarios.
Right.
But if it's not a panic scenario, why?
Right. And so, the first scenario is that, like, gaming distresses you and comforts you. You get comfort. 3, you get very engaged into it. But 4th, do you know what you mentioned? It sounds like people that have the similar interests and bringing you out of the house helps you get more active with knowledge and working on stuff related to things and topics you're passionate about. That's the 4th one. And the 5th thing is that you've had help of people actually trying to help you balance your gaming time with education. And there's times, have you seen the good and bad out of it? Let's look at what you said about Jeremy.
You know, you're kind of echoing my parents a little bit here.
Oh,
but you're way better at it. I suppose it means there's a good point behind all this, and yeah, there's definitely been some good, a lot of good to come out of that, of working with others and tying it all in, time balancing and whatnot. It's definitely made like life in general like a little easier to balance and just do things without all the same stress levels at least. Like if they can minimize the stress of work, then I don't need the gaming as much, I guess.
What are things that you like to do?
Now.
What are things you like to work on that keeps you...
What, work-based?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a good reader and researcher. I'm good at looking stuff up. I'm also pretty good at like, well, I used to be good at running and doing a bunch of things on my feet at least. Because I don't like loading stuff up or doing things in my hands as much. But feet or moving things or organizing stuff, like that's a different ballpark. I'm pretty good at like coaching somebody in things that I know. Like if I know like the strategy for a game or like how to read a book or something, I'm like pretty good at coaching actually. When I got the energy to do so, I'm an introvert, but like sometimes I got it, you know.
Yeah, I hear that. So what's a balance? What's a good balance with your extrovertedness, but also engagement into things you're passionate about besides video games? Or that relates similar to the video games. I
suppose music would be a better tie-in.
Music?
Because you can share music and you can play that while you're busy working on something.
Perhaps you ever thought about finding a job related to the themes and morals in some of the video games or be a game developer? As an idea.
Oh boy, have I gotten that question a lot.
Really?
I said, oh yeah. And like it's not like I don't think about it, but I'd rather be a play tester than a developer because I can test if a game is good. Like gosh, I have so many hours. I know what a good game is, but developing, that's pretty stinking hard. Like I tried it; it's actually kind of difficult. Maybe I could research to be a developer. Oh, why didn't I go to college for that? Oh, right. I'm trying to finish my generals first. That's right.
But perhaps maybe you might want to go back to be a developer.
Yeah, the thing is, coding's difficult.
Oh yeah,
it's also a science. It's computer science. We all know science ain't my greatest.
I actually know someone that had the same problem and actually discouraged him from being a developer. He actually walked away from college because of decoding.
Well, I'm not gonna walk away from college, but like I gotta consider if like I can actually do this.
Right.
Do I have like the time and the brain power? But for now, I just want to level the field a bit.
So what type of field would you like to work with?
I kind of just want where I have like connections with gamers and I'm able to have like a lot of good fun gaming sessions. I don't care if it's like 6-7 hours of my day, but I do want it to like be where everyone can enjoy and have a ton of fun. And maybe be able to learn something out of it a little bit. I don't mind if gaming's educational. I just want to put the fun into education, not take gaming out of it. I want everything to be more interesting, more engaging. I want everybody to have more connections.
And so, with that being said...
Even though I'm an introvert.
Right, and so, with that being said, you know what researchers do, right?
Oh, oh, oh. You're thinking that, like, tying that in as like a psychological survey or something like that? Oh,
More of like a suggestion. I want you
yeah,
to think about this.
yeah,
Researchers develop
yeah,
and they test. They do
yeah.
both.
That's a thought. I didn't think about that. Okay, I can try that.
It takes practice.
I'd have to ask the questions, but maybe, yeah, that could work.
Yeah.
Because it's a research. Parents like research. They know I'm good at that. Maybe, yeah, try to tie it all in. I could try that. Try to make suggestions. Ask the friends and others about it.
See what are the things you gain
Okay.
out of. Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's focus on that, Josh. What are
Well, we don't got a lot of time now, but we can practice in the future. You know.
yeah, and I asked this because it's something to very think about. You know.
Yeah, we'll try. Yeah, we'll try it in the future, as in just see where that goes.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem. And well, our session is done. But I will actually before I'll let it slip a little bit for another couple minutes. I'll let with this new, and I want you to think about this goal. What is the thing you would gain out of it? I want you to think, because you said preparation that even Jeremy talked to you about.
With any luck, I'll get better relationships and be able to enjoy myself a bit more, not be so stressed.
Plus, you're not just doing video games. You're actually using this as a career way, as a career skill.
Or at least helping others with their careers, and maybe just finding a new path of my own. At least it branches out quite a bit more than what I'm currently doing.
Right, and opportunities can help you learn more. It takes patience.
But right, and flexibility and some engagement. But this is something I like, so engagement could like maybe come naturally.
Yeah,
But it's a new strat.
right,
Like any tactician, you gotta vary your strategies.
right. Well, thank you for our session here, Joshua,
Yeah,
and
thank you.
and I want you to remember that. Now let's try a little bit of that practicing of research, that researching, and in our next session, I'd like to hear your thoughts on what you got out of it.
Yeah, all right, sure thing.
Does that sound fair to you?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much, and I hope you have a good day. Would you want me to open the door for you, or?
Yes, I got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, you take care.
You too, Joshua. See you next time.
Yep.